Okay, before I film, you guys have got to see this playroom. Oh my gosh. She got out like every single puzzle yesterday. Actually, she's really good at these word puzzles now. They've been working on spelling at school, so she really gets the phonics of these 3 and 4 letter words. But look at that. She did the alphabet puzzle and then put the little alphabet puzzle pieces over them. She'd made all the dinosaurs and animals. She stood up some of the block ones. Oh my word. So many puzzles. I can't believe it. So I wanted to show you guys that because it just looks crazy. I very much look forward to having my own space for filming. So all of this is not in the background. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Hey everyone, it's Sami from Sami's Sweet Life, and we are talking about Stella. I almost called her Olivia. We are talking about Stella's 4-month update. She is down for a nap, and I thought I would do the bulk of the update without her because she learned to scream and screech, and it seems like when I get talking, she starts doing that a lot, so I didn't want it to be really long and distracted, and I thought in the end of the video I'll show you guys her, and I have been vlogging more so you can see her in those vlogs as well. So she is down for a nap there, you can see. So lots of things have happened with her sleep, but one of the big ones is she sleeps full-time in her pack and play now, unless she happens to like fall asleep when nursing. Sometimes I'll just hold her for a little cat nap, but for the most part she is all the way in the pack and play, flat on her back. There's like a helicopter or something, but she is fat. I cannot talk. Oh my gosh. She is flat on her back and no anything around her, and she does not use the swing anymore to sleep. She also sometimes will fall asleep in the car, and so she'll sleep in the car seat a little bit, but other than that, it's always in the pack and play, and I'm really happy with that. If you guys don't live under a rock, you guys know what happened with Brittany's baby, and that just really put me into high gear, like super alert. We do it everything by the book right now. There's no more like gray space. She's flat on her back with nothing else, no swings, no nothing. So it really just was such a tragedy, and I don't know the details of the situation, but it really just made me want to 100% follow the recommendations to make sure that Stella is as safe as possible. It really made me think about, I've been really lax on some of the sleeping things, and it just totally rocked my world because Livy was just a few weeks shy of cruise age when all of that happened. So it was definitely one of those situations like, gosh, that could happen to anybody. We're all sleep deprived. We all sometimes just don't stick 100% to the sleep rules. And I'm not saying that's the reason that anything happened. We don't know, but it just made me that more aware of, for everything I can control, I'm going to control it and make sure that she's in the safest possible environment, even though things can still happen. So that's what I did. And that wasn't that big of a transition. She has been really good about sleeping in her pack and play most of the time anyway. With her sleep, she is I feel like much better than Olivia was. Olivia cried every single time she went down for a nap or for sleep. It didn't matter if I was holding her. It didn't matter if we put her down in a swing or in a pack and play or anywhere. She would always cry, and it would be anywhere from like 3 to 10 minutes. And literally I could set a timer and she could cry for 3 minutes. And it was just brutal going through that, really exhausting every single nap, every bedtime. And Stella is not that bad. Sometimes she will still have some tears here and there, but knock on wood, I'm not gonna, most of the time she just goes down. She'll make noises here and there. She might whine a little bit, but she puts herself to sleep. And that was not always the case. I feel like in the beginning she did cry more than she has been crying now, but she knows how to put herself to sleep. And we did the timed checks. If she starts crying, I give her a couple minutes. I go check on her, reassure her, do the pacing, which seems to be her favorite thing. You guys have seen me in these vlogs. I hold her and I kind of like bounce her as I'm pacing the room, and she loves that. That's like the thing I do before every nap or every bedtime now. I just pace with her a little bit, and she loves that. So if she is getting fussy, I give her a couple minutes, try to let her settle herself down, and if not, I'll go do the pacing with her, try to set her back down. And sometimes it took a while. Sometimes it took me checking on her 2 or 3 or 4 times, and a lot of times it just took 1 check and then she's okay. And most of the time she would just go to sleep after a minute or 2. So she really wasn't like full-blown crazy crying. There were very few instances it went on for extended periods of time, and sometimes it felt like forever. It feels like hours even though it's just minutes. There have been like 2 times where it went on for like 30 minutes, and it's like going back and forth, in and out, reassuring her and waiting for her to finally be ready for sleep. And those times were definitely overtired times, and it's much harder when they're super duper tired to get them to fall asleep. And also with her sleep, she has this internal clock where she'll be playing and laughing and having a good time, and then something just snaps and she is ready for bed and she starts fussing just like at the drop of a hat. So that's when we get ready for bedtime. And unfortunately, it's earlier than Olivia's bedtime. So I generally do not get to put Livy down for bed. It's like Stella starts at 7 and Livy goes down at 7:05 or something like that. So I miss a lot of bedtimes with Livy, and sometimes I catch the tail end of bedtime with her and get to tuck her in and finish up the story with her and her daddy, but most of the time I'm missing bedtime with her. So because I miss so many bedtimes, I really make sure that we have breakfast together and I get her ready for school, even though Johnny takes her to school. So we have that morning time together. We'll sit and color for a little while because we're missing that bedtime time a lot of times. We get plenty of hugs and kisses before Stella goes down for the night. It's just something that's changed the last, I don't know, probably this last month. Generally, Livy would have her bedtime first and Stella would go down more around 8 o'clock so we could do bedtime as a family. And now it's like Stella has this time at 7, almost exactly on the dot at 7 sometimes, and I miss the bedtime. So it's just kind of a phase we're in. I'm hoping that as Olivia gets older, her bedtime will be pushed back a tiny bit and I'll be able to do both. But right now it's just not working out like that. So Stella will nurse at bedtime. So sometimes it's 20 minutes and she's ready for bed. Sometimes it's an hour and then she's ready for bed. She generally goes down for bed somewhere between 7 and 8, and then she sleeps until about 8 in the morning. It gives me time to have the morning with Olivia and then have a little bit of time to myself a lot of mornings, and then I get Stella up for the day. So it's been working out really well, especially the morning part of it, but the evening part's a little bit tricky. So anyway, I've got my notes in my phone. I've got a lot of notes for this. That covered a lot of it, is the sleep stuff. The other main sleep thing is last night we put her into the guest room. I wanted to be in a room where there's a bed because she does not like rocking chairs. Like, absolutely refuses to be rocked in a rocking chair. So I nurse her from the bed or I nurse her from the couch. We are not in motion at all. It's just, that's where I nurse her and she likes it like that. So I didn't want to put her in her own room for a couple of reasons. One, it's right next to Livy's room. So if she does have any crying, I don't want her to disturb Livy's sleep. Even if Livy doesn't wake up, I know her body hears it. Number two, it's closer to our room. The guest room is closer to our room, so I don't have to hike up the stairs in the middle of the night, which is also great. And third, it has the bed in it. So we just moved her pack and play stuff. I showed it in the vlog. I'm actually vlogging today. It's her like 4-month vlog, countertop vlog. I'll make sure to link it down below when it gets posted, but it worked really great. She didn't have any sort of fuss. It just ended up working. And the reason I moved her into her room is she is really freaking loud. Something I'll go into is she sucks her thumb and her fingers, so she's making sucking noises in the middle of the night to put herself back to sleep if she's like waking up a little bit. She's trying to roll over as well. Every time she moves around and wiggles, the pack and play thing wobbles, and so I can hear that noise. I hear her moving, I hear her grunting here and there. She also toots, so I hear her toots, and every noise is waking me up. Although she's only consistently waking up one time a night to nurse, all these little movements and things are waking me up. So the last few nights before moving her, I got to this point where I'm like, I'm waking up every 45 minutes to an hour, hearing all these little noises where she's still asleep and she's still fine, but it's waking me up and affecting me. So I finally put her in her own room, and last night was glorious. She still woke up one time like normal, and the rest of the time was fine. I didn't get that really fragmented sleep from hearing all the noises, and it was just great. I feel like a whole new woman today, and I'm so glad that she did okay with that. Like, she did not skip a beat. She's very much like Livy, really go with the flow about things. And yeah, she's in her own room. She's taking her nap now. So what I did yesterday is midway through the day, I moved all of her stuff and she took her last nap of the day in that room. And again, like no crying, no tears. And she went right down for her nap. And then she went right down at bedtime and then right down again at the middle of the nighttime. And then this morning, this is her first nap. So she is down, and I heard her like grunting a little bit, and that was it. And it was just great. So far so good. Again, knock on wood that it will keep up this wonderful pace, but it's been really nice. So there was like, I don't know, like a 2-3 week stretch in there where she was sleeping a really solid 8 to 9 to 10 hour nights. and her wake up would be like an hour before I get up to do Olivia's morning routine. So it was really unfortunate that that's when the time fell, because I'm like, okay, do I try to go back to sleep for an hour? Do I just get up an hour earlier and miss that hour? And it was really just that awkward, fuzzy time where I didn't know what I should do. So sometimes I would try to go back to sleep. Sometimes I'd just lay there. Sometimes I'd get all the way up. And lately, this last like week or so, she's been waking up really consistently somewhere between 2 to 4. And then she goes back down and I have enough time to go back to sleep again. So it's been working out much better than her waking up at like 5:30 and then I get up at 6:45. It's just really hard. So yeah, most of this update has been sleep related, but she is sucking her thumb. She doesn't take a passy, and she found her thumb and has sucked her thumb. And you guys saw like one of the first times on one of these updates, she found her thumb for the first time, and it wasn't consistent for a while, but now she knows how to find her thumb, and she will suck on both thumbs. She'll suck on any kind of finger she can get in her mouth, and that's how she soothes herself. And it's really, really sweet. She will put her thumb in her mouth and rub her head, and that's how she falls asleep. And it's super cute, and she can do that herself in the middle of the night when she wakes up. So she is fully putting herself to sleep. And like I said, she still will cry here and there, and I'll have to go in and comfort her. But other than that, she puts herself to sleep. Oh, one of the other noises she does, she makes spitty bubbles. So she's like making noises with her mouth. That was also keeping me up at night. And like I said in the very beginning of the video, she screams and squeals. And that's how I know she's awake in the night too. She'll start squealing and screaming, and it's happy squeals and screams. She doesn't cry. I end up waking up and hearing her before she goes to cry or anything. So I'll hear a couple of screams and I'll know she's awake and not going back to sleep without me. So that's when I go and nurse her, and that's been working out really well. So at her 4-month appointment, I'll talk about vaccines and stuff in a second, but at her 4-month appointment, the doctor said she could start solids anytime I want. So we talked about baby-led weaning, which I plan on doing more with her. Did purees a little bit with Livy at the beginning, but we went pretty quickly into finger foods and things. So I plan on doing more of that with Stella. And so he said, that's totally fine. He told me, you know, the main choking hazards and things to avoid. You have to avoid honey until 12 months. But he said pretty much anytime, anything goes. He said you can give her whatever you have on your plate. It's no big deal. So I really like his approach to it, where he's not like, purees, you take one puree and take it for a week, and then you can start a new puree the next week. He said introduce the common allergens early and often, because they find in research, they find that if you hold off on allergens, there are more chances of actually having the allergies. So he said peanut butter is fine. Of course, peanut butter itself is a choking hazard, but peanut butter on things in like very thin amounts is totally fine. And going with that, we have not tried solids yet. She doesn't seem to be super interested yet, and I want her to be able to have a little more hand control than she has right now. Like right now, I don't think she could consistently pick things up and take it to her mouth. She's getting really much better at that, but I don't think she's quite there yet. And also, she doesn't show a whole lot of interest in food. Like she'll watch us a little bit, but we knew Olivia was ready for solids when she would scream her head off when we didn't give her food. Like she saw us eating, she wanted food too, and it was really clear and obvious. And we're like, okay, it's time to start solids with her. And we did adjusted 6-month age. So Livy was 2 weeks overdue. We started solids at 5.5 months. So it was 2 weeks under her 6-month mark. Stella is on the other end of that. So I'm thinking, if we can make it, I want to make it to 6 months and 3 weeks. So that's her like adjusted 6-month age. And if she's showing signs where she's interested, she shows like she has the hand control, she can handle it, we will totally introduce foods as soon as she wants. So we're just kind of leaving it up to her. And going along with that, she nurses great. She's getting really efficient at it. And she still mostly usually only nurses on one side, which I talked to the doctor about. I was like, my other one nursed on both sides, and he said it's totally fine. They do what they want, and it's obvious when she wants more milk. If she pops off and she's still hungry, I put her on the other boob, but for the most part she just takes one boob, and it's worked out really well. I'm not as engorged as I was the first few months. I just have engorgement by the morning time. Even with the one wake up, I'm still engorged at the morning time, so she gets really good feed when she wakes up for the day. But other than that, my boobs are pretty much regulated. I'm still leaking a whole lot, so I cannot use the reusable breast pads all that much. Like I've got one in right now. Like It's a reusable one, but I leaked through the other one last night, so I'm not using them full time still. I just can't use them at night because I'll leak through them, but otherwise I've been trying to use them more during the day. And I don't have as many random letdowns as I did in the beginning. It's been much nicer. I don't have random letdowns when I just like think of my girls all lovingly. I do have letdowns though after getting out of the shower or the bathtub, and it's always like me getting out of the bath or shower and drying myself off, and as I'm like leaning over to dry my legs and my feet and everything, I will start leaking. So I have to be really careful of that. So yeah, I already talked about the thumb sucking. She chews on her hands and sucks on her fingers, and I think she is starting to teeth. I can see like the front two, and then the canines on the bottom, I can see them. They're like big white spots on her gums. They're not breaking through or anything, but I have a feeling her teeth might go out of order because I haven't seen the second ones in. So I see the first ones that usually come up, the first bottom two, the ones next to them, I don't see anything, and then I see the canines, which are the second ones over. Yeah, so I see those, and I see the middle two, and I don't see anything else. I don't see anything on the top, but she is just chewing a bunch. She has bitten me a couple of times, and one of the times I just like pull her off and gently I'm like, no bite, and the second time it hurt like heck, and I pull her off and I say, no bite, and I'm like really stern with her and almost yelling, and she just smiles up at me like the cutest smile, and I ended up taking a picture, so I'll try to insert that. I just could not believe how cute she was, and I was like, oh, I'm not even mad anymore, even though my nipple feels like it's gonna fall off. But she was just so cute and smiley, and it's just really hard to be mad at her right now because obviously she's a baby. She doesn't know what she's doing, but in the moment where I'm like in so much pain, I was angry and snapped at her a little bit. She is just so smiley and cute and just fills me with all the warm fuzzies no matter what she does. And even if I'm irritated with something, I'm just like, oh, I look at her and I just melt. She is getting really talkative, really smiley. She coos a ton, she screeches, she screams and squeals, and it's just really, really fun and cute. She's at that age now where she's really interactive. The one thing that I noticed that's much different from Olivia is she does not laugh a whole lot. She will, like I can get her to laugh, and she's done like rolling laughs with other people here and there, but for the most part, she's just really smiley and loud, talkative, just not laughy. So I don't know if she's gonna have quite the goofy personality that Livy has. She seems to be a little bit more reserved, and just, they were both very observant and very alert and interested in everything and very curious, but she just doesn't seem as like goofy personality so far. She seems a little more serious, a little harder to get to laugh. Like even when I'm trying to get her to laugh, it's really hard to get a couple of laughs out. She'll just do like one or two little laughs and just smile at you. You can tell she's super happy because she's doing really big smiles and squeals and things. She just doesn't laugh a whole lot. I know she's capable of it, so it's just one of those things that's, I think, just going to be a personality difference. You could do the same thing 20 times and Livy would rolling laugh every single time, and she would just laugh at herself. I have clips of her laughing at herself, and I don't have that with Stella. Like she will squeal and then maybe do like one kind of laugh, but not anything like what Livy was doing at this point. Let's go on. She is super chunky. I have her stats and her vaccine information for you guys. So she's chunky, she's super rolly, she's got all the rolls, even wrist rolls, like I think thicker than Livy had wrist rolls. And one day I was like cleaning her and I found lint inside her wrist roll. That's how chunky and chubby she is. I just never thought to even check, like move her wrist around and make sure there's nothing in there. So when I'm wiping all of her creases and things now, I make sure I wipe her wrists as well because they're just so many rolls. I have to wipe all her neck rolls and her arm rolls and her thigh rolls. She's just super cute and rolly. So let's talk about the doctor appointment. I've got to pull up the photo I took of her little piece of paper. So she went to the doctor yesterday. Her vaccines were much better. It was either her 2-month update or her 3-month update. Crazy story with her vaccine. And the doctor called her the Rhoda baby because she just went like full exorcist, like spitting, choking, stopped breathing, throwing up a few times, like full on crazy ordeal with that. And so I was really nervous going into this 4-month update because she has to take the second dose of the Rhoda vaccine, which is the oral vaccine. All right, I finally ran out of space on this camera, so I had to delete some things, but she did just so great. We did have a different nurse, and this nurse like already saw the paperwork, so she was really slow going with the Rhoda vaccine, and she showed me how she was doing it, and it just was so much better. She did spit some of it out, but for the most part, she swallowed it all. She did not get super upset like last time. There was no choking, no stopping breathing. There was a little bit of crying, but very little, just like a little bit of whiny cry, and then it was done. And same thing with the shots, other shots she's had previously. She's just inconsolably cries for quite a while, like extended amounts of time. And even like I'll nurse her in the doctor's office before we leave, and she's still crying when we're leaving afterwards. So it's just not fun. And so this time I was like really kind of nervous about it all. She did end up having one shot into her thigh, and she cried for maybe a minute or two, kind of what I'd expect, kind of what Livy did. And so far she has been fine. It's been over 24 hours now and she's been fine. So I did give her Tylenol. That's something they recommended for her situation where she had a super crazy reaction to it, where she was inconsolable and her leg seemed to really react badly. So I gave her a few doses of Tylenol over the course of yesterday, and she's fine. So it's just been really different than our 2-month experience, thankfully. Hopefully this is the normal experience for her moving forward. And so let's talk about her stats. At her 4-month update, she weighed 15 pounds, 6.5 ounces. So that put her at the 73rd percentile. Her percentile dropped just a tiny bit, but he wasn't concerned about that at all. And then she measured in at 26 inches, which I feel like is probably incorrect. And he even said that jumped her up hugely on her height percentile. So he's not sure that that's the case. And that put her in the 96th percentile. And the only reason I think it may be sort of accurate is because Livy was so tall. And Livy was always in the high 90s, almost always like 99th percentile for height. So I could see Stella being a really tall baby as well, but I don't think that's completely right. So I think she's probably a little bit less than that, because it was such a big hike from 2 months ago, but you never know. Maybe she did really majorly growth spurt. And then her head is in the 74th percentile, so still really big for her head, but otherwise she's just really big and really healthy. And I was surprised she dropped on her weight percentile because she is so pudgy. Olivia was her pudgiest at her 4-month as well. So I think Stella may just stay a little bit pudgier. She doesn't seem to be interested in crawling, as like Olivia at this point was showing signs she was going to crawl soon, and she ended up crawling at 6 months. I think Stella's more average in those kind of things, so she might end up staying pudgier a little bit longer, which I think would be so cute. I just love pudgy babies, and she's just so rolly, and I just love it. So far, the only thing she hates is naps. She'll fight her naps sometimes, like I said, with the crying, and she hates the rocking chairs. Like, she will not, even if she's happy, if I sit down in the rocking chair and try to rock with her, even sitting her up, she is not having it. Does not like the rocking chairs at all, which is totally weird because Livy always nursed in the rocking chair. I would go upstairs to nurse her in the rocking chair because she liked nursing in the rocking chair. It's not the case with Stella. She just doesn't like it at all. As far as things she does like, she's starting to really like books. So we have a morning routine that I vlogged about. We read a couple of books every wake cycle with her, and she just loves books. She loves grabbing them. Has one crinkle book that she really likes. She'll grab certain things in the book and she can actually grab them and crinkle them. She loves Olivia. Just anything Olivia does, she is watching Olivia. If Olivia's in the room, she's not paying attention to anything else. She only pays attention to Olivia, and she just is mesmerized. And the funny thing is, she'll smile a ton, but she doesn't smile nearly as much at Olivia. She's just watching her, completely in awe of her, and doesn't give her as many smiles. So Olivia's like, why won't you smile at me, mommy? And it's like, she's just watching you because she loves you so much, and she just wants to watch everything Olivia does, and it's super duper cute. As far as her gross motor skills, she is doing much better at tummy time. She can hold herself up really consistently and grab at things a little bit. She's still not grabbing a whole lot on her tummy like that, but she has been able to get herself rolled over from her belly to her back, and it's been really a struggle for her. She ends up putting her arm out and trying to roll on her arm, and she does not realize she has to put her arm down or up. So it's only been a few times she's managed to get her arm in the right place, but she has the motion down. She knows what she wants to do. It's a really conscious thing, and she is this close to rolling from her back to her tummy. I think she is so much closer to doing the back to tummy because her arms are in the right place. She's not having her arm all the way out to the side blocking her rolling. She so close. She gets almost all the way over and then just can't get quite the rest of the way. And I think pretty soon she'll be able to do that pretty consistently. And she's been practicing that a ton. Like even on the activity mat, she'll be there, hardly plays with her toys above her anymore now that she can like grab things pretty easily. She wants to roll. So she's almost always on her side trying to roll all the way. And I think she's really close to that. The tummy one, she's got to figure out where to put that arm or she's not going to be able to do that one consistently, even though she has been able to do that a couple of times. She's got crazy long eyelashes and you guys have commented on that. I think they are way longer than Livy's eyelashes were. And Johnny and I both have pretty decent eyelashes, so I don't know where she's getting these crazy awesome good ones from, but I love them. And everybody we see in real life, like that's one of the first things they comment on is her eyes are so pretty, her eyelashes are gorgeous, that kind of thing. Tons of people stop me when we're out in the store and just go gaga over her eyelashes in the store too. It's really sweet to have people like come up to me and she's smiling at them and they just lose their minds, and I just love that. Livy was the same way. Like people would come up, she would give them big smiles and they would just melt, and it makes it a little bit interesting. Like if I'm trying to get things done, I'm stopping all the time because people are interacting with her, and thankfully nobody like tries to touch her or kiss her or anything weird. They just want to smile at her and let her smile at them, and it's really sweet. So it makes it a lot longer to do anything because of these stops, but I just love that she's so smiley and people are really receptive to that. So I do need to talk about one crazy thing that has been happening, and it's only happened a couple of times. So she has had a couple of choking episodes again, but it's just her choking on her spit up. And so like she had these even as a newborn in the hospital, and thankfully it's only been a couple of times. And one of the times she's just sitting in my lap and all of a sudden she's gurgling and stops breathing. And so I flip her over, really, pronounced, pat her on the back and get her breathing again. And that's kind of what they did in the hospital. I had to do that a couple of times when she was a newborn, and I'm sure she probably could get it clear herself. It just takes them a second to do it, but I wasn't gonna wait and see if she could do it. I just flipped her over, patted her back, and got her breathing again. And then she also did this in the car one day, and it was just the weirdest thing. We were pulling up to a very big intersection in the middle of Austin traffic. We have some of the worst traffic in the country, so we're pulling up to this intersection. We'll probably have to sit at the light one more round. She starts making this gurgly sound, and Johnny's like, what the crap is she doing? And all of a sudden we hear gurgling and nothing. And so I'm like, unbuckle my seatbelt. I'm in the passenger seat, look over, and she's not breathing. No sounds coming out. I'm like screaming, I was like, I don't know what to do. And I'm panicking, like full-blown adrenaline at this point. I have my seat unbuckled in the middle of Austin traffic. I'm climbing over the seat, unbuckling her as fast as I can. And as soon as I get her unbuckled and pat her a few times, she's breathing again. And by this point, the traffic is moving again. So she's loose in her seat. I just loosened her enough to like be able to reach in and pat her on the back to get her breathing again. And Johnny pulls us over as soon as he can because I'm like climbed over the seat. I don't have my seatbelt on. We're in the middle of traffic and I am just 100% surprised I did not have to climb around. I was just thinking, oh my gosh, in the middle of traffic, we're gonna have to put our blinkers on. I'm gonna have to climb around and make sure my baby's breathing. And it was one of the scariest moments of my life. Like I'm getting choked up thinking about it. I just saw her not breathing and then just my mind raced and went to a scary place. And thankfully I got her breathing again. And I think probably she would have done it on her own, possibly. It's just really obvious when this happens. Like she makes a lot of gurgling sounds and then nothing. So she does lose her airway for a second and we've been able to stop it. And I think if it happened when we weren't there, she probably would be able to clear it herself, but it's just scary, like super scary that these things have happened again. And it's like we did this when she was a first newborn baby. We had a few of these episodes, and especially like in the hospital, they happened a couple of times. We haven't had any for months, and then we had 2 this last month. So it's just one of those things that makes me really nervous about starting foods when she is choking every once in a while. But thankfully, we got her breathing. We were able to pull over really fast so I could get both of us buckled back in and make sure she was okay. And she didn't even like skip a beat. Like she's just like, hi mom, what's going on? After she started breathing again. And I like pulled her out of the car at that point. I'm like making sure she's okay. She seemed totally fine. It's just a weird, crazy thing that happened. And I'm just really hyper vigilant about that kind of thing. So like I have the monitor with me at all times just to make sure I can hear her and I don't hear any like gurgling kind of sounds coming from her. But other than those choking things, she's been perfectly fine, perfectly happy, and sleep is getting better and better. Like I said, we're at that stage now where I'm like, yes, this is why we had a second baby. This is the good part. We're getting into the better parts. Everything's really good right now. So I'm at that point now that like, oh, thankfully we're getting to the other side of the newborn stage and we're getting less of the drudgery stuff. Oh, one of the drudgery things is she does not poop consistently, and when she poops, there's usually a blowout. So she's usually taking a bath every time she poops. It's just a lot at once. I had mentioned, I think last month, that I found a link between her spitting up excessively and beans. For some reason, I cannot eat beans. They totally set her off, so I avoid beans. But I've also realized now there is a dairy link, and it happens to be when I eat a lot of dairy. So I had like cheese dip. I made the Rotel cheese dip. It's Rotel and that like meltable cheese like Velveeta or the Kraft Singles, something really melty. I made that and I ate a bunch of it one day. I was just ravenous. I ate a bunch. The next 2 days, she was just spit up city. Felt like everything she ate came back up. I know it wasn't. Oh, she's waking up. I know it wasn't that, but I felt like it was like everything coming up. So I really realized it then. And then I ate another dairy thing around the same time, like maybe a week or two later. And the same thing happened, like total spit up city, back to like when she was a newborn, she was spitting up a ton. And so I am mostly going dairy free. I have a little bit of dairy here and there on things, like on tacos. I still got the cheese on the tacos. Didn't notice something like that causing a problem, but I'm avoiding cheese. And I got vegan cheese if I want to make like grilled cheese. I have vegan cheese for that now, and I'm just avoiding it. So I don't eat a whole lot of ice creams or anything. We already use mostly just nut milk anyway, so that's not a big deal, but I'm just avoiding most of the dairy. I've been doing those protein shakes. There's like copycat Starbucks, and when I go to Starbucks, I still get the whipped cream on top, but I use coconut milk. And when I was at home, I would use like half and half to make the heavy cream part of it, the triple mocha. Well, I'm using coconut creamer now instead. Just really avoiding the dairy as much as I can now, except for like little bits here and there. And I haven't noticed just a little bit affecting her that much. But when I have a lot of dairy, I can definitely tell a difference. So I'm just avoiding that. It really doesn't change my diet a whole lot because I don't eat a whole lot of dairy, but I do like cheese. So I'm just not eating a lot of cheese. Johnny and Libby don't like cheesy things like I do. Like I love cheese enchiladas, cheese dips, that kind of melty cheesy type of thing, where they like string cheese, sometimes cheese cubes, and a few different sliced cheeses. So I don't buy a whole lot of cheese anyway. We don't have a whole lot of cheesy meals because they don't like it, but I'm just avoiding the cheese on my end, like no cheese dips, that kind of thing. And also soups. I made my zuppa and I used half and half, and it was a little too much. I noticed she spit up more the days I was eating that soup. So I will use the coconut creamer or a nut milk moving forward if I make that again. So I just have to make a couple of changes. And now as far as postpartum, I'm having the hair loss, I'm having dandruff, and I remember specifically having dandruff when I was either pregnant with Olivia or after she was born. So I'm having the dandruff again. I'm getting a little bit of acne here and there, and I am super duper craving sweets. Like all I want is sugar. I like want to take the whole sugar, dump it in my mouth. I just love sugar right now. So I'm eating a lot more candy than I ever eat. I'm eating a lot more sweets than I ever eat, and I'm just embracing it. And lately she's been nursing so much and so efficiently, and even with me eating a ton of junk on top of like eating healthy stuff too, but I'm eating a lot of sugar and sweets, I still lost 5 pounds last week. So I'm definitely at that point now where the breastfeeding is helping me lose weight because I am eating a ton. My appetite has bumped up tremendously this last month. I just eat everything in sight, and I still lost 5 pounds this week. Like I said, it's just that point of the breastfeeding where things are tipping and I'm getting hungrier and she's eating more and I'm burning more calories. So that part's been really good, except the craving sweets. Like I want candy bars all day long. So that part's been hard, is trying to fight some of those cravings. I want to indulge in some of them because they're the first cravings I've really had since getting pregnant with her. I haven't had a whole lot of craving. I haven't had a whole lot of appetite, but man, I really want grilled cheese sandwiches and I really want sugar. Those are like the only 2 things I really want to eat all the time. So that really covers most of things on my list. I hear her cooing and stuff. You probably can hear in the background. So I'm gonna go grab her and we will wrap up this video. Alrighty, we got Stella here. Bumped the camera and she was just screeching. Her hair spot is still pretty bare. I don't know, some of it's still growing in a little bit. And her hair's getting a little bit longer, but still slow going. Olivia didn't have like lots of hair until like 3. All right, there's big Stella. There's my big Stella girl. Oh, do you see herself? She's looking at herself, I think. Silence, surprising. We usually get lots of screeching and squeaking. But she did just wake up. She was screeching and squeaking a bunch down there. Who is that? What do you see? Oh, I want to talk about one thing. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. I'm going to try to hold her really close. She has one little segment of her eye. Like, it looks like a slice out of a pie that is brown. And it's so bizarre. Oh, who is that? Who is that? Oh, that's your daddy. So there's one little like pie slice segment that's like a brownish color. I definitely think she'll have brown eyes. The middle of her eyes are turning a little bit browner, and Livy's did not change for like 3 years. Her eyes were not fully brown until she was 3. And so I'm hoping Stella's will make up their minds before then. What is that? Who is that? I'm trying to hold her close. I don't know if you can see the little spot that's like a pie slice, and she's had that since she was a newborn. I just never remembered to mention it. Yeah, who is it, baby? That's a Stella girl. Yeah, it is you. Oh, wow. She still will spit up, too. Just won't be as much as she doesn't have beans or dairy in my diet. It's just the weirdest thing. Like, I would never think beans. But apparently, she doesn't like beans. All right, Stella Bug, you want to help me wrap up this video? Can we wrap it up? Oh, yeah, she's still looking. Yeah? Can we wrap it up? You want to wrap up the video? Should we wrap it up? I think we should. I think we should. I hope you guys like this 4-month update. You can see her in the vlogs. I'm trying to do more vlogs, especially because the house is being built and we close on it next month. And so I'm trying to vlog the steps of that. I'm trying to vlog this little one now that I'm getting a little more sleep, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I will have Olivia's 4-month update down below along with her playlist if you want to see other months, and also I have a playlist for Stella as well, so you can catch up on Stella's monthly updates. You get no smiles. You get nothing. No smiles, huh? Anyway, hope you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.